Hello and welcome to the two-man power trip of wrestling. I'm your host, JP John Paz. With me today, very special guest. You may recognize him formerly of NXT as Trey Baxter, but my God, he's been in. Let me try to remember this. I wrote it down: AEW, ROH, New Japan, Impact, GCW. My God, I missed a bunch there, but you've literally been everywhere. He's Mr. Blake Christian. Blake, welcome to Two-Man Power Trip. How you doing?
I'm happy to be here.
Man, what's going on in your world? I know you keep not super busy, super busy.
I had a weekend off, so I'm just chilling this weekend. But next weekend we're back to it. Yeah, I just been hitting the gym this weekend, laundry, cleaning up, and you know, just hanging out.
Why do you take so many bookings? It seems like you're everywhere. You like to stay busy?
I love to wrestle, man. I love to wrestle. I feel like this weekend, like this month, like the holidays have things like really tight. So yeah, man. I just love to wrestle, and this weekend I kind of felt like I need to wrestle. So but some weekends are good off. But yeah, I just love wrestling, so that's why I do it.
What are you working lately? I know a lot of GCW, right?
A lot of GCW, a lot of the New Japan Strong. This weekend I have Black Label Pro. I'll make my return to there. End of the month I go to AAW, make my return to there. Yeah, just GCW, New Japan, Black Label. Anywhere I can get in, really.
How'd you get hooked up with New Japan?
So I met them early on, like I can't. I think it might have been 2019. It's whenever Alex made his debut in Los Angeles against TJP and Amazing Red. I met them there because I was there at that show. And then once the pandemic hit and they were doing these New Japan Strong tapings, they hit me up to come in, and ever since then, it's just kind of been a home for me.
Yeah, it seems like you're on a lot of their shows, most of their shows, right?
Most of them, yeah.
Who's the hookup? Is that like Rocky Romero? Who's like the U.S. liaison that does the booking?
I have no idea. My contact is Rocky Romero. I don't know who makes the calls, but Rocky Romero is the guy that I talk to, the one that brings me in. So
Man, what a great ride for him! Because I remember when he was at the dojo, the guy 20 years ago, and he was at the
uh,
dojo.
my man's on top of the world right now. So
Yeah, and then obviously he sporadically appears for AEW and stuff too. But I love like your kind of GCW, New Japan, AEW. Sometimes I mean, it's awesome to kind of see you out there doing so many different things.
I try. I try.
Some guys, I don't know, like I'm like, yeah, I'm not into like the flips and stuff, but there's some guys that do it better than the other guys, so they're kind of get a pass in my book. Jack Evans, of course, legendary, gets the pass, but you always got the pass. I was like, man, I hate you getting lumped in with some of the guys that try to do stuff they can't do. You know what I mean? Like, you ever get that feeling like, oh man, some of these guys should be trying that, but whatever.
Uh maybe. I mean, I don't know. I feel like maybe people can do what they want to. I mean, I get like some people fall into a category like, oh, I don't like this, so I don't like that. But I mean, I do what's fun, and I could be the punch kick type of guy, but that's not fun to me. I wanna bounce around, flip. I want to do all the jumping. I want to do all that. So yeah, I mean, I think it's just about people doing what they think is fun.
Where did your style like kind of emanate from, or do you have influencers, or like how do you kind of create that style?
So I was actually a male cheerleader back in high school, and then also in college a little bit. So I've always been like a fan of Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero and cruiserweight stuff. So I mean, I just kind of took my gymnastic background and put it with them, and just kind of all fell into place. Really,
Do you think that also helps with like the execution of the moves? Like I'm saying, like it seems like you're more crisp, let's just say, than some of the other guys. Do you think that helps you?
no, no doubt, no doubt. Being able to know how to flip and do it like I learn to do it like in a gymnastics setting. I think that allows me to like pinpoint and be more accurate and more crisp, as you say. Yeah, so it definitely helps out a lot.
I was always curious. Like I wonder what the background. There you go, gymnastics and the male cheerleading, because it does seem like not that you have like an athletic advantage, but just seem like I said, like more crisp. I know you just seem easier flowing for you. Some of the stuff you're pulling off.
100%. Yeah, it definitely that background definitely helped me do all that for sure.
So you're always a wrestling fan too.
Always, always, always.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in. Excuse me, let me get a drink of water here. I grew up in Tennessee, right in between Nashville and Memphis, a little town called Jackson. Um, yeah, my first event that I ever saw, like went to live, was a SmackDown in Memphis. I don't remember the exact date, but it opened with Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio against the Basham Brothers, and ended with JBL and the famous JBL John Cena debate.
Interesting. Like, interesting time there for wrestling for sure. But
No
it's good
doubt.
to see that you're always a fan. You like Ray and Eddie were your two favorites. You said.
Eddie Guerrero is like my top favorite. I'm a big fan of Rey Mysterio too, but Eddie Guerrero has always been like my favorite all time wrestler.
What is it about Eddie?
I don't know. I like I said, like I like to do what's fun. I have a lot of fun doing the flips and stuff. And Eddie Guerrero always seems like he was doing the fun things in the ring, just the lying, the cheating, the stealing, the all that. So it drew me into him more than it drew me into anybody else. You know,
Man, he was one of the best. So smooth too. He could do anything he wanted to do.
very much.
Even character based. Like I
Oh
know
yeah.
WCW, he was kind of more like the worker's worker, but he did the LWO stuff. But WWF is when he really shined, or WWE,
Hmm.
excuse me, because of Latino heat. I mean, then you started seeing like, man, this guy has great range as a character.
No doubt, no doubt, and a good match that I think kind of showed both of that. Sorry, my dog is like right here on me. Um,
It's like my cat's always by my
yeah,
leg.
he's right up on me.
Yeah.
Um, a good match that showed that was Kurt Angle versus Eddie Guerrero, 2 out of 3 falls. They start out wrestling. Eddie Guerrero gets the better of him, so Kurt Angle decides he wants to cheat. Eddie Guerrero's like, okay, like I'm gonna give you the warning, and then Kurt Angle does it again, and then Eddie Guerrero's like, okay, we can play that game, and you kind of see more of his character come out, and you got to see his wrestling as well. So I mean, I thought that was that's like my all time favorite match as well. I was on SmackDown, and yeah, I think that one really showed both of what Eddie really had.
I always love it. I know it's an obvious one, but Halloween Havoc '97, him and Rey Mysterio, just because he becomes like demonic. He becomes such an asshole. He's ripping at the mask. He's saying he's gonna even though if he won, the stipulation is he could take off the mask. He's ripping at it beforehand. He's trying to kill the guy, but the
Right.
match is just, and then it shows the athleticism. The match is amazing. So it was like both sides, like, wow, what an asshole. I hate this guy. But then he's like, wow, but he's so good. He's so smooth.
Yeah, that's a legendary one as well.
And then forget about it. Latino Heat in the WWF was like, or WWE, excuse me, was just like, man, this guy is so funny. He's got like another layer on top of another layer to his character.
I mean, greatest of all time. In my opinion, is one of the best. So
Hey, he's got to be up there. And then he could do a few wild brawls with JBL and go crazy there and
yeah.
bleed like crazy. So it's
Mm-hmm.
crazy what he's able to do. Very versatile wrestler.
100%.
So just going to like get into the business and like how do you actually like okay, I love it, I'm a fan, I love Eddie. How do you actually get in? How do you actually break in?
So when I first decided that I wanted to be, I was very confused. Like, I don't know who to talk to. I don't have contacts in that business. Like, who do I talk to about becoming a wrestler? Um, so I looked up schools at first, and I found Black and Brave, and I was going to go there, but I decided that maybe I should like graduate college first, and so I put that one off hold. However, one of my friends had passed away, and it kind of sent me down like a little dark road or whatever. And I said, you know what, man, I got to do something, or I'm gonna go crazy. So, yeah, I my dad had contacted this guy, and his name is Brimstone. He runs a company, a very small company down in McKinsey, Tennessee. And I talked to him, and he put me in contact with pretty much their entire locker room, really. But the main guy that I worked around with was a guy named Trent Ware. Um, and yeah, that from there it just kind of took off. Like I started there. I was there for maybe like six months or whatever. Uh, Traveled around Tennessee area, getting my reps in, and then yeah, I just kind of happened for me.
So it was pretty fast between training and actually starting wrestling for you.
Yeah, so I started training in like July of 27, no, 2016. 2016. One of the two, I think it's 2016. but I started training around there, and then I made my debut in January 2017. So I trained in July 2016. So that's when I had my first match in January, and then I kind of just bounced around Tennessee for a while. And then I got in contact with Burt Prentice, and I started to do a lot of his shows around the Tennessee area. One of my biggest matches for Burt was against the Rock and Roll Express at the Oman Arena, so I'm very thankful for that. But after that, man, like it wasn't long before I got contact with Brett Lauderdale for GCW, and after I made my debut there, man, it just everything just took off immediately. So yeah, I mean, it all happened kind of fast, but like I was ready for it. I worked my ass off. I kept working and working and working, and it's what everything I've ever wanted. So I was ready for it.
Love Brett. I do another podcast about the business side of the business of the business, all about the business side. He's come on 4 times. Now he said he wants to come on a fifth. He just keeps coming on. It was like, this is
Yeah.
awesome. I mean, we're helping him and he's helping us. I mean, it's all, he always gives us like the best tidbits of stuff, and all that Moxley stuff that came out recently was from the show. I mean, so he's awesome. What a great guy. Like, so pretty cool. You get hooked up with him, and obviously GCW's been nothing but climbing.
Oh yeah, nothing but climbing with them guys, especially all the way up to Hammerstein, and now even more. It's just yeah, man, it's crazy. So I mean, biggest indie company in the world, no doubt.
It's funny. It was like, Brett, when can we get you? He's like, I don't know. I'm going to Mexico, UK. God, it was somewhere else too.
Yeah, UK, Mexico, or no, it was UK. Came back, went to Japan, came back from Japan, went to Mexico.
Yeah, there you
Hey,
go.
all
Holy
over.
crap. Man, talk about hitting some multi, national, whatever, global spots. Japan,
Yeah,
Mexico, and UK. Whew.
crazy, and within a span of 2 months.
Man, you think about it, like this little indie company from Jersey, not so little anymore.
Yeah,
You know what I
no.
mean? It's global.
Hey, when you put the work in, and this is what you want, like it's crazy what you can accomplish.
What did you think though when you like first were there? Like this is a niche. Like, what were your thoughts on GCW?
So I knew about when I debuted for GCW. GCW was already like in its meteoric rise type. It was we already knew where GCW was heading when I made my debut. So I was very excited. I was very happy with it. It was also a new type of crowd that I had because I'd only been like in front of these like Southern Tennessee crowds where they like the bad guy, they like the good guy. Oh, he does a cool move, but whatever. So it was very it was a lot. It was different as a part of the crowd wise, but yeah, man, I knew exactly what GCW was, and I knew exactly what GCW was becoming. So I already knew what I was stepping into, but I'm just very thankful that like I caught on with like the fans and Brett as well. So and I've been a part of it ever since. So I'm very grateful for that. But yeah, I already knew what I was getting myself into.
I just find it fascinating when people are like, all fans are the same. No, Southern fans and Northern. I mean, there's a
No,
huge
it's
difference,
it's
right?
it's very very different. The things I could do in front of a very southern type crowd versus what I would do in a very like indie smart fan crowd. Uh, Crazy different. I always kind of keep the same, but yeah, like I know where to do the really cool stuff and where like I can get away with doing like this. But yeah, it's very very different.
I've talked to a few guys, and they're saying basically they did a match down south. They did the same exact match up north. Got like no reaction. Down south was like they were loved. It was great. It was a
Yeah,
simple match.
it's wild. Like there's so many stories like that, like in the southern area, because people are like, oh man, I went there, but like nothing like they weren't in anything I did. I was like, it's a different type of crowd, and you gotta learn to work them. You gotta learn to what audience you're in front of. You gotta learn which viewers you're in front of. I wouldn't do the same thing that I would do in a southern crowd versus a northern crowd. I would do some of my stuff, but like I know what's gonna get the reaction where.
Seem to have a very mature wrestling head on your shoulders.
You know, I feel like yeah, I don't know, man. I've been told I'm very like humble, as opposed to like all these people they say stuff about me, but like I'm too humble to admit any of that myself. To me, I'm still this small town kid who's just done a bunch of cool stuff. But like in other people's eyes, they see me as like this top superstar guy, and I'm just like You know, I'm just a small town kid to me. You know.
Very fascinating though, like to think that you at this young and even really knew the business. I mean, like you said, 5 years basically. That's it.
Mhm.
And you're saying, well, you got to know what to work, what crowd. Like guys of your skill, not skill level, guys of your, I guess, time in the business level would probably be like, nah, I'm doing whatever. I'm getting my shit in. Like not you. Though. Very, very
No,
mature, very different.
I think working a lot in like the southern area starting out um, kind of taught me that, like I knew what those crowds wanted, but I always knew the style I wanted. Like I watched a lot of Super Juniors and New Japan, and I watched a lot of like top indies, and so I knew what I wanted to do, but I knew like the audience I was in front of at the time. Getting my reps in and stuff before I ventured out into like the world of GCW and more and different indie fans. Like, yeah, I just I picked that up. So I mean, I don't know. I guess it's just where I came from.
So it's not all about getting your shit in. That's not true.
Yeah,
There's no,
no,
you don't
no,
do that.
no, no doubt.
Yeah.
I like to get my stuff in, but yeah, no, it's not always about that.
Interesting though. You're watching some Jacob. Who do you like though? Who stood out? Obviously, maybe Liger, Sasuke. Like who stood out for you?
Liger, I think, is obviously a top tier one. Tiger Mask is always a good one. I very much, obviously, I enjoy the new stuff as well, like Will Ospreay, Ricochet, stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I very much enjoy like cruiser because obviously I'm a cruiserweight, so I enjoy junior cruiserweight, whatever you want to call us. I enjoy that style of wrestling. That's my style of wrestling, and I've always connected with that more. Maybe it's because I've always knew that that's what I would be. But yeah, I've always liked that wrestling. So anybody that's in that, I'm always watching, always.
You think Osprey for a while and Ricochet were kind of getting a bad rap from some of the veterans, some of the older guys? They were saying like, "Oh, this video game stuff," like kind of getting a bad rap a little bit.
I think it comes with it. I've also had that same stuff or whatever. Um, Basically, I learned early on that you have to take some things with a grain of salt. Some things aren't going to work for you. Some things are. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. I think they very much changed wrestling with that match. The famous one that we all know that came from
Yeah,
the Super
Japan.
Juniors.
Yeah,
Yes, I think they changed wrestling with that match. They changed the perspective of it, and it opened a lot of doors for guys like me, guys like Jordan Oliver, guys like Nick Wayne to do this new innovative style that no one had ever seen before, and it was something unique. And it's still something that's unique, and it's progressing more and more and more. So, bad rep or not, whether they got the bad rep from the old heads or not, like, I mean, I don't know, man. I think uh, certain styles of wrestling work for different people. Like I think FTR is one of the greatest tag teams in the world, and I love those guys to death. And they have a very old school type of wrestling, but they bring in this new type of school as well. Like I don't know, man. It's wrestling is changing, and like I don't know. I can't tell you the change, but you can see it.
it's funny. Dynamite and Tiger Mask. Dynamite Kid, of course, in the '80s and stuff. Oh, I don't know about this. And okay, revolutionary, awesome. Like Brett and Shawn Michaels for a while. People are like, I don't know about these guys. Then Mysterio for a little bit, and then all of a sudden, like they're legends. They're all become legends. So I think it'll eventually turn around and be like, all right, Osprey changed the game a bit, or like, oh my god, how many good matches has he had? Stuff like
It's
that'll come
it's
back.
actually crazy. Like you can go and you can look up like some older school of wrestling, and like you can see like they were doing crazy stuff back then too. Like as the time went on, it just progressively got more and more unique. Like they took a style that was done so many times back in the day, like just different flips. Like they were rolling, but they were still doing all these crazy things. And because I've seen stuff that they did back then that I felt like I've never even seen before now in the new day. Like I mean, I don't know. I think they revolutionized a different style of wrestling, and I'm all for it.
Funny, a buddy of mine, older wrestler, obviously, I showed him Will Osprey, thinking he's going to say something. I was like, all right, I'm probably going to have to defend Osprey. He's like, this guy's amazing. He's like, I couldn't do any of that stuff. Even in my prime, I couldn't do this. It's like, wow. I was like, you actually like him? He's like, who? He's like, who else moves like that? I'm like, not a lot of guys. Yeah.
It's unique, it's different, it's something that we've never really seen before. And like I've been in the ring with him, so like I know like it's something completely different. And yeah, man, it's just unique, and it's gonna draw people in whether people agree with it or not.
What's it like wrestling him? Because obviously his skill level seems like even when he had a few matches in AEW, and he's wrestling good guys, but it almost seems like man, he's spinballing and speedball, whatever you want. I mean, he's moving quicker than everybody else. He just and selling and doing the other things you need to do, but he just seems to be on another level.
Yeah, it's true. Like he said, everything he says he is. He's one of the best of all time, and like yeah, man, it's what you see on when you watch it on TV, like, or if you're watching him live, like if you're in there with him, he's moving fast. Like it's like I said, it's something unique and different, and he's one of the best of all time, no doubt about it.
Not to peel back the curtain too much, but is that a lot of calling it in the back or calling it in the ring or like kind of almost playing off of each other?
Um, I wouldn't say like I'm used to it, like maybe to other people it's like, well, that's a lot, but I've been doing when I wrestled him, I've already been doing this for a little bit. So I mean, I don't know, I'm used to that type of style. So it didn't seem like it was too much to me, but I could see where someone's like, oh, that's way too much. But no, if anything, I would like to do more.
Yeah, for sure. Did you ever work for Defy? I know you worked everywhere, but did you work
Yeah,
for
I've
Defy
I've
Wrestling?
wrestled for Defy one time. My it was like right when I came out of WWE. I wrestled Nick Wayne.
Oh, the youngster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. I was thinking about that because we were talking to Matt Foreman not that long ago, and it just popped in my head. He was saying Lou Thez hated Harley Race. I'm like, what? He goes, "Oh, that kid with his high spots and stuff." And I was like, what? Like, so it's funny. Like one generation to another, I don't know. I guess it's just bound to happen with some of the guys. They're just not going to
Yeah,
like some guys.
like I said, man, it's everyone has a that's the beauty about wrestling. It's art, and people have their people like this version of art versus this version of art. Like you have the opportunity to see all this different types of wrestling, and like some people are gonna like it, some people aren't. Some it's not gonna be some people's cup of tea. It's okay because there's another cup of tea right here made just the way you like it. I mean, it's just it's art, and people are gonna like, people aren't gonna like. It's okay, because there is flavors of it for everybody.
The buffet, if you will. You're going to get
Exactly,
this, and this. You might
one hundred
not get
percent.
all Osprey match. You're going to get FTR or whatever somebody
Right,
else.
100%, 100%.
How like what did you think about Nick Wayne? How do you think about his skill level? Obviously young as hell,
Oh
but what do you think
yeah,
about Nick?
very like when I wrestled him, and that's when I just come back. So I was kind of like I was out for 30 days, so I wasn't like in the ring a bunch. I wasn't doing all these things, but I told him after that match, like I needed a match that really let me know I was back, and like that was the one. And ever since then, me and Nick Wayne have been super close. Um, yeah, man. So I've worked him at GCW, tagged with him at Warrior and GCW. So I mean, like I think Nick Wayne has the world ahead of him. He's at a very young age already a top name in the business, wrestling guys like Osprey, wrestling guys like Alex Shelley, and so many more. Just tagged with Ultimo Dragon. I think it was this past weekend, I think, and or 2 weekends ago, my bad. And yeah, I think he's got the world ahead of him. He's only going to get better as well. So I mean, it's going to be awesome to see his rise.
It's almost like you, young guy in the game, obviously younger, but
Yeah,
almost like when
way.
you were coming up.
Yeah, yeah. No, it happens fast, man. All it takes is the right set of eyes and the right match and the right people to watch it, and like it'll take off faster than you know.
So just going to NXT for a second here. How'd you get noticed by them? Like who notices you? How do you get signed? Like how do you get into NXT?
So I got in around the time of when AEW was hiring talent and WWE wanted the talent. You know what I'm saying? It was around that hoarding time where both companies were kind of bringing people in left and right, and I was working. Who it was Gabe that contacted me, and then I talked to Canyon, and then had a tryout, and then I guess I stuck out in the tryout, and they hired me. Yeah, so I got in around the pandemic time, which is when everybody was getting scooped up left and right.
So probably Gabe was scouting you. Obviously he knows the indies, maybe knows
Yeah, I
better than
was. Yeah,
anybody, but
yeah.
yeah.
He's the guy. He is the scout guy. He was back then. I don't know. I think he might be again now. I don't know. I read the dirt sheets. That's it.
Yeah. Now you're talking about like hoarding and stuff. Was that known? Like that? Oh, they're going to try
I
to
don't
scoop
I
up all
don't
these
think I
guys.
don't think I just think hoarding is what I saw online. I don't know necessarily that hoarding. The way they described it to me was like, normally we like to let you like you know flavor out, whatever, get your reps in, stuff like that, and then like we'll talk to you, we'll have a conversation, then we'll go from there. But nowadays things are like, oh, we need to, we don't really have that time anymore. Like if we see the talent, we want it. So I wouldn't say that hoarding was just a word that they used to describe it online. So I figured it would be easier to say it like that. But yeah, you could see that AEW was signing people and WWE were signing people left and right, left and right. So yeah, I got scooped up into WWE.
Did you think like at that point it's like, man, they're trying to get me to not go to AEW? You were thinking that okay,
No, I think so. Obviously, as a young wrestler, like as a young fan, WWE was the place. Like
yep.
there was no AEW when I was around. It was WWE, New Japan, but like in the States, it was WWE. So obviously, I've always wanted to go to WWE. So of course, I'm going to take that opportunity. And like they were just the first ones to be there, and like it was a place that I wanted to go. Like I mean, I don't know. I can't tell you if I would have done anything differently. Like I would tell you that I probably would have went to WWE either way, because that's a place that I always wanted to be. It was a dream of mine to go there. So like yeah, that I wouldn't say that like it was like, oh, they're trying to keep me away from AEW. No, it's like, do you want to work for WWE? Of course I do. I don't think it was them trying to keep me away from anything.
So when you get there, obviously you said WWE is the goal, the dream. You excited, nervous? What was the thought process?
Um, I'd say nervous and excited. I think it's a bit of both because like you're stepping into a different type of world. Um, this is a big television show. There's a lot of rules. There's a lot of this, a lot of that. But overall, they it's the same thing. Like you're wrestling to have fun. Like if you're not having fun, you're just beating your body up. And being in WWE, like it's not. You're gonna be nervous. You're gonna be excited, but like you shouldn't be like scared or like like super nervous to where you can't do your job because it's about having fun. Like this is a dream. Like this is a dream job. Not everybody gets to work for WWE. Not everybody ever. Like some people never even go there. Some
Yeah.
people never even make it to any other promotions. So like it's you got to have fun. So I mean I was nervous and I was excited, but like I wasn't nervous to where like, oh, like I don't know if I can do all my stuff. I don't know if I'll be able to operate under the pressure. No, like I knew I could, and I just wanted to have fun.
As fans on the outside looking in, it's like, all right, he's not going to be able to do all that awesome shit that he normally does. Is that ever like brought up? Like, oh, you got to slow it down, or don't do the, don't be as athletic as you. Is that ever said?
No, no. Anytime that I like, so they had these practice matches or whatever, and I would always go all out. Like at a practice match, you shouldn't be doing some of the things that I was doing, but I was doing it
Right.
anyways. Because like
Yeah.
the way I see it is those skills brought me to the dance. Like you noticed me because I did all this wild, crazy stuff. So why you hired me because I did that? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want me to do that? So no, I don't. That there was never a time where people were like, you need to peel it back. I've never been told that. Like sometimes they were like, I would suggest an idea and they'd be like, maybe you could do something cooler. And I'm like, you're probably right. I was just saying this because of that. But yeah, there was never a time that they told me to pull it back.
Did they like the practice matches?
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, like obviously you want the criticism because you want to know where you can get better from their standpoint. But there was never like any like, oh, you sucked. There was never any of that.
Who's like watching the match, so to speak, or who's grading the match,
all
or
all
whatever
coach
you want?
all coaches are watching it. It's all the PC coaches are going to watch whatever's going on.
At that point, was Regal still there at that point?
Yes.
So is he kind of the main guy, or was Michaels the main guy?
No, the head coach is Matt Bloom.
Oh, right, right,
Matt
okay.
Bloom runs it. Regal is there. He's and when he's not there always there, but he was there and he was watching. And when he watched the match, he'd always give you advice. Always, always, always. Especially if he asked, he wanted you to ask him. Michaels as well. Michaels wasn't at all of them. He's a busy man. He's running the thing, so like he's not going to be there at all of them. But Matt Bloom was there at every single one. It's his job. Like he's always making sure he can put the best product there, and he's always making sure these guys can get the best reps and the best advice that they can get. So yeah, Matt Bloom was the guy.
What advice did Regal give you?
So I've always been really close with Regal ever since I got there. Like he watched my tryouts, and then from me getting there, he obviously gave me a lot of advice. And you know, I don't know, man. I had a lot of advice from Regal. Like Regal, he can talk and like he can, and he's full of knowledge. He's like a library of this stuff. And so I mean, like I received a lot, and it might be too much to tell. So I mean, I don't know. It was a lot.
But that's awesome that he's making sure that he's helping everybody there.
100%. And even when I got released, like he shot me a text and he's like, anytime you ever, hold on, let me plug my phone up. He's like, anytime you ever need me to, watch some of your stuff, like anytime you need anything, just reach out to me. So he's always been like very good to me.
Very cool. So your first match, if I remember correctly, in NXT was a huge one. You faced the
Yes.
Kushida right off the bat. Kushida, obviously, awesome legend, was great in New Japan. Maybe a little bit of a rough going in the U.S., but it is what it is over here. He still was great. What
Right.
did you think about that? I mean, you're being thrown to the fire, thrown to the wolves right away.
Watching the cruiserweight division growing up and to have my first match not only against like a cruiserweight legend, but for the cruiserweight championship, that was I was like, whoa. So that was a big moment for me as well. But I've watched Sheeta since, I don't know, man. Like ever since I wanted to be a wrestler, man, I would study Kushida, and I would watch a lot of Japan Kushida. And so when they told me that, man, when they told me that, let me get my headphones set up. So sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Let me just get disconnected here. Um, they might be connected, they might not be. Oh well. Back to talking about the match with Kushida, man. I knew I think I knew like 3 weeks beforehand. They told me like, oh yeah, we're gonna do Carmelo first, and then you're gonna do it in 2 weeks after that. And I was like, sweet, So like I was thinking of ideas already like crazy. And yeah, man, when I talked to Kushida, like he was like, you have idea, and I was like, so many, and he's like, very good. Let's do whatever. And so yeah, man, is Kushida let me wrestle the match that I wanted to do, and yeah, I couldn't have been more happy with the match.
Man, it's like they throw you right out there. Cruiserweight title, first match with part of NXT versus Kushida. It's like, man, well, like almost putting faith and trust in you right off the bat.
Yeah, man. So it's funny because one of those practice matches, like my first week, I think it might have been my first or second week there. We had those practice. It was like the week of practice shows, and I wrestled Carmelo. Sorry, I wrestled Carmelo, and you headphones, but I don't need them. I wrestled Carmelo in one of those practice matches, and the coaches loved it, and I think that really opened the doors for us to both be like, okay, we're gonna debut these guys against Kushida in the Open Challenge. So yeah, I just worked out from there ever since.
Yeah, I mean, great start, great throw out there. Why the name Trey Baxter? Where did that come from?
So this actually, so it's a funny story. I sent in a bunch of names. Like they ask you, like, oh, like what kind of names do you want to do? And I sent in a bunch. And I think Trey was mixed with something else, and Baxter was also mixed with something else, and I guess it just got picked, or I might have I don't know. I sent in a bunch of names, but yeah, like Trey Baxter was just the one they picked.
That is funny because you never know with some of the names. They just seem so random. It's like, okay, he's Blake Christian, like Trey Baxter. Was there ever any consideration, like, can I be Blake Christian?
I asked, but my real name is like that, so they're like, oh, we can't own like a real name. But I did ask them, but yeah, it just didn't work out.
Trey Baxter. That just seems so random. That's like I always
It's
joke around. There's a
different.
name generator. It's like Trey Baxter. You know what I mean? It's like
I
a
mean,
name generator.
we are the name generator. We make it. We send in a list, and they pick them.
Do you have any say, like as far as like I didn't like that one, or they're pretty much like, nope, you like it.
Um, no. They ask you like, are you okay with this? And like, if you don't like it, then they're like, nah. But yeah, they're not gonna let you go out there and be called something that you don't want to be called. It's not like it's forced upon you. They find a name that they think they like, and then they ask you like, if are you okay with this? If not, we send in another list. We'll get another list. It's not like that at all. It's a very easy process. Like they ask you, oh, do you want to be called this? Yeah, that's fine.
It's funny, like looking at it, the names sometimes, like Dolph Ziggler, Baron Corbin, even like Roman Reigns, like they're so random, but now they've been wrestling for so long, we don't even think about that anymore. Like that
Not at all.
always happens,
It's
right?
it's yeah, it's crazy about the names. Like there's so many names out there that you would think like that doesn't fit, but obviously you've been wrestling for these guys are like superstars, so you've been calling this all their whole career, so you're like you don't notice a difference.
Like when they first gave him Dolph Ziggler, like, oh my God, this is a disaster, never going to work. I think 16 years later, still there.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
So next up, I think you were in the breakout tournament. Joey Gacy, Odyssey Jones. Was that just another thing that's a great experience? You're on TV. I mean, you're getting some TV time.
Yeah, man. They announced the breakout tournament or whatever, and then one day I was there and they pulled me aside like you're gonna be in it, so that was sick. They kind of told us the layout of everything. And then yeah, I wrestled Joe Gacy. Great match. I very much enjoyed that one. And then Odyssey Jones is he's a superstar in the making. So I was very thankful to be a part of that one as well. Yeah, I mean like anything you got to do on that product was gonna be something. Like doesn't matter what you're doing. You're wrestling on WWE. Like what are you know? Like yeah. So I was very thankful for that opportunity.
Did you wish you were used more on TV? I know you get the win over Gacy, you lose to
I think
Odyssey, but
I
do you
think
wish more?
I think everybody wishes they could be used more, Like I'm not I know a lot of people get bitter about certain things like this. I'm not bitter at all. Like I'm very grateful for the time that I had and stuff that I got to do. Anytime that I was told like, oh, I'm getting like this amount of time or like I'm having to do this or whatever, like I always tried to push the boundaries a little bit. Like, oh, can I get away with doing this? Like, can I do this, please, or do this and do this? And like I push so much that eventually they got to give me something.
Yep.
So any time that no matter what amount of time that I had on screen, I always made the most of it, no matter what. Um, so yeah, I'm not very. I mean, yeah, do I wish I could have been used more? Of course, but I'm not bitter at the amount of time that I got.
I believe there was a takeover. It was you and Rich Holland on like the pre-show, and it was a short match. It was almost like, oh man, I wish they'd give him more of an opportunity to shine there.
Yeah, like I said, man, like it is what it is. Like that match, I very much pushed the boundaries of what I could do, and Rich is he's a total brother. So I mean, like he's all about it as well. And yeah, like we text and chit chat, and we talked about the match and stuff like that. And yeah, he was down to do whatever I wanted to do. So I mean, I was very thankful for that. Like again, it's an opportunity. I got to wrestle on NXT Takeover, whether it's a pre-show or not, whatever. But it's I'm not bitter. I'm very thankful for what I got. So yeah.
What do you think about Triple H? Was he down there a lot when you were there?
So Triple H was there when I started. Obviously the first match with Kushida or whatever. This one gimmick was pitched to me that I was totally okay with. At the time I was like, oh, I wanna be on TV and use the best way I can. So maybe this is it. And they pitched it to me, and Triple H shot it down. He's like, no. This guy's a wrestler. Let's let him wrestle. Put him in there with Kushida, and I'm very grateful for that. I got that opportunity. Um, but when 2.0 came around, that's when Triple H was out with the heart issues or whatever.
Yep.
He was recovering from that, and really, we didn't take our business to him because he's recovering with his family. So it was Sean's show. So Sean was running things, and we even made like a video for Triple H and stuff like that. But yeah, Triple H was there for the beginning of it, but not towards the end.
Are you allowed to say what the gimmick was that he did want you to do?
I prefer not to.
Okay,
Like
I was thinking
it's
that. Yeah.
it's out there on TV now, but yeah, it's the guy that gave it to is a tremendous wrestler, and I love him to death. So I'm very thankful that they gave it to somebody that would do well with it.
He didn't think it fit you, I guess.
Um, I don't know. When we first talked about it, like it was when we first talked about it, it was like they were shooting it down because that's not what NXT was. But NXT became something different when it became 2.0. It was more colors, more young audience, stuff like that. So the gimmick very much fit this 2.0 audience, and they were all for it. Even John Laurinaitis was high on me too. But things just don't work out, and sometimes you get cut. It's okay. It's part of life. I knew what I was signing up for when I signed that contract. Like I said, man, I didn't want to live my WWE career in fear of getting released. I wanted to have fun. So it is what it is.
Did you like 2.0? Like going back for a second, like did you like that, or do you think that was I don't know about like does it really need to be 2.0? We're still NXT.
Uh, I think I don't think I really had like any dislike or like favoritism over anything. I like wrestling, and I think NXT Black and Gold era was a lot of more wrestling. But WWE is forever expanding, and they're always going to push the boundaries, and they're always going to do what they think is best for business. So at the time, 2.0 was best for business, and like Triple H said it himself, like they make stars, and they're going to produce like the best product on TV, and they're always going to go that route. So I enjoyed what I got to do on 2.0. I enjoyed a lot of the other stuff that they were doing on 2.0. So I mean, I don't know. I think it goes back to what's like your flavor, like what type of stuff do you like, stuff like that. And I personally I liked it. So I mean, it is what it is.
When you look at it, like you said, you're getting released, but before that, they'd start doing a 205 live. Did you kind of think, oh, maybe they're gonna pump up the cruiserweights again, or maybe they're gonna start pumping up 205 live a little bit again? Or did
No,
you
I
know that
think
was just for nothing?
I think the rumor, like you never know anything until the day it happens up there. Anything can change just like that. Um, but I think 205 Live was always going to get a big revamp, and now it's NXT level up, especially towards the back half when it wasn't even cruiserweights anymore on the show.
Right,
Um,
like Grayson
I
Waller,
knew,
yeah.
yeah. I knew that I would be doing a lot of stuff on 205, but I always knew 205 was going to get revamped. Like that was always the rumor. So and it happened. So.
Yeah, like Grayson Waller was on it. A couple other guys were like, these aren't 205ers anymore. Like, what are they doing with this show?
No, I
You're
mean,
right, yeah.
it was just expanding, and it was something different they wanted to do.
So the release happened, like you mentioned, you were okay with it. Were you shocked at all? Were you surprised that it happened or no?
So I kind of felt it coming. I was supposed to debut this new gimmick a few weeks, about a month before that, and they kind of like called it off and never really told me what happened. They just kind of paused it or whatever, and so I kind of felt it coming, and then like I got the phone call or whatever. So I mean, I was like shocked, but like not shocked. Like I felt it coming, but I wasn't for sure because I had this new gimmick stuff. So I mean, I don't know. Uh, Probably a little bit of both.
Disappointed? Like that you weren't there longer? I think it was 4 or 5 months that you were there. Were you disappointed it didn't last longer?
I mean, I think everyone wishes like I said, like it's I think everyone wishes they could like they can get used more, used better. I think you always want to be in a better position. So of course I wish it could have lasted longer, but I'm not bitter. I'm not disappointed. I'm not upset. I was confused, but I wasn't like mad. It's okay because like I'm a wrestler and I know what I can do and I know what I bring to the table and I know that I'm not going to be not busy, like I'm immediately going back to the indies. So I mean like that's where I came from. So it's not like I can't cut it there. So yeah, I wouldn't say like I was upset or anything like that.
If anything, it probably helped you with the indies. Probably made you busier.
Yeah, so I was a lot busier when I came back on the indie. I'm still crazy busy as it is now. But yeah, it definitely helped me. It gave me more of a people knew more who I was. The people that didn't know me before I went to WWE, so it gave me more of an audience. But Like yeah, I wasn't scared at all.
That WWE rub, if you will. Like, oh wow, the guy was at WWE.
Yeah, and
Probably
like
helps.
when
Yeah.
you go to WWE, they tell you like sometimes you get cut, sometimes some things don't work out, but you take what you learn from there and you use it out there, and like it's not like you're going to WWE and you can't use anything that they gave you. They gave you all the tools, so use it. You know, they tell you that.
And it's not like the door wouldn't be open for you to go back. I mean, look at Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes, two of their biggest guys. They both got released at one point.
Yeah, never say never. So I mean, it is what it is.
Door definitely open though. If like you were willing, you definitely would go back.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of things that I need to do out here first, but I'm not opposed to ever going back to WWE. Not so. I never say never.
So if you're like pretty high profile when you are gone, Impact, you were wrestling for them a bunch. Like, how does that gonna happen? They just got the more somebody reached out like, oh, we got to get you on. You
So
fit in with the X division or whatever.
yeah, I debuted for Impact before I went to WWE. I did the Super X Cup. Um,
Oh, right, yeah.
so I already had contacts in WWE, or not WWE, Impact. When I got out, they were coming to Florida. I reached out to Scott. I reached out to D'Lo. D'Lo was always been high on me. Scott loves me too. I wouldn't say love me, but likes me. I'm not gonna say what his feelings are towards me. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna, but he does like me. So yeah, they were super willing to bring me in a few times, and yeah, so
Yeah,
I
I think you worked Ace Austin, right? When you were
yeah,
in
in the super yeah when in the tournament, the finals was me and
Yeah.
Ace Austin.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say I couldn't remember if that was before WB or after, but okay. What do you think
Yeah,
about
no,
working with
they
Ace?
oh Ace is Ace is one of those guys that's like he's gonna be on top of the world too. Like there's guys out here in this business like that's gonna be on top, and Ace is one of them. Ace is tremendous to work with, especially like his time and impact. Like he's picked up so much, so. I've always enjoyed working with Ace. Anytime I'm working with Ace, I'm ready for it and happy for it. And so, yeah, I very much enjoy working with him.
Yeah, they get a bunch of good, young like Trey Miguel. I mean, they get a bunch of good young X division guys that could probably keep up with you a little bit.
So, yeah, man, anytime I went to Impact, like they always given me great matches. I did the X Cup, put me all the way to the finals. Wrestled Kenny King in the recent ones. Done the Ultimate X on WrestleMania weekend, and that's always been a dream match of mine. And yeah, so I mean, anytime I went to Impact, they've always given me great stuff.
Laredo Kid is another good one that you were in there
Yeah,
with.
I wrestled in one of my favorite Impact matches I've ever had was me, Laredo, and Ace Austin in a triple threat. So yeah, anytime I went to Impact, they've always given me something great.
I think you wrestled Laredo Kid in GCW too. I think.
I wrestled Laredo a few times. Wrestled him on before the Impact on Impacts twice, GCW, and in that triple threat. So I've wrestled Laredo a few times.
Man, pretty good. Obviously, he's a great Spanish or
Oh
luchador, if
yes,
you will.
very
Yeah.
very talented luchador, very talented.
You also got the chance to work for Ring of Honor.
So yeah, that actually came like last minute. Like as WrestleMania weekend, I just showed up for my first show of the day, and it was for New Japan. And I get a call from Sanjay Dutt. And he's like, "Hey, can you come down to Ring of Honor real fast and wrestle Colt Cabana for the pre-show?" And I was like, maybe. I don't know. Like I'm here in New Japan. I got a match. I talked to Rocky and talked to them, and we worked it out. Like it was crazy how it worked out, honestly. But yeah, I hopped in a Uber, went to the arena that ROH was at, wrestled Colt Cabana real fast. Didn't even take my gear off, just shook everybody's hand and immediately hopped in an Uber right back to New Japan to wrestle Jonah. And by like right when I got there, the match before me and Jonah was ending. So yeah, it all worked out so crazy. But yeah, that was my debut for Ring of Honor.
Wow, just like that. Like, hey, by the
Yeah.
way, I know you're in town. Can you work?
It was crazy, man. Like I was getting a phone call, and he's like, "Hey, can you come over real fast?" And I was like, "I don't know, man. I have to try to make this work out." But it worked out for the best. So
That's and big guys you're working with. Colt's not a small guy, and Jonah obviously is a super heavyweight. So you're working with the big boys that weekend.
yeah, no, that was a crazy weekend for me, honestly. Like I wrestled AR Fox the night before, and then wrestled Colts, and then also Jonah, and then I had the Ultimate X right after that, and then after that I went straight to GCW to do the big cluster. Can you cuss on here?
Sure. Yeah.
The big clusterfuck match. I did that one, and then yeah. So I mean, it was a crazy weekend for me, honestly.
How many times did you work that weekend? Jeez.
Um, let's see. I wrestled AR Fox, did Colt Cabana, straight to Jonah, straight to the Ultimate X, straight to the GCW, and I was in there from like the beginning, so I'm counting that as two. Honestly, that was like an hour long match. And then I wrestled Black Label Pro at like midnight on Sunday, or no, Saturday. Yeah, 'cause Sunday was WrestleMania. But yeah, I wrestled that on Saturday, and it was a lot of working, that's for sure.
Wow, 6 or 7 matches in a weekend. Man, I mean the
Speed,
paydays are probably great, but that's crazy.
it was great, but Speedball definitely had more than me. I think Speedball was number one. I think I was second. But yeah, Speedball had a
Wow.
lot of matches.
Wow, I can't believe guys are working that much. I guess that many different organizations are running that weekend.
Just you got when you love it, man. You want everything. You want to work, and that's what I
Can't
wanted to do.
never say no either, right?
Sorry, you cut out right there. What'd you say?
Never say no either, right? I mean, you
Oh
always want
no,
to say
yeah,
yeah.
no, I don't. I was supposed to do a singles match on the last night, but we kind of politicked our way for being the last show of the weekend. We're all tired. We kind of politicked our way to a four-way, but um, but I'm down to wrestle anytime, so I'm always gonna say yes.
And then you finally make your way to AEW. What was that like? Who is that? Tony? Is it somebody else? Like who kind of contacts you and say they want you part of AEW?
Um, I reached out to Sean Dean, and obviously I had contacts with Sanjay, so
Yep.
Sanjay's always looking out for me, and even Ace was there as well. So those are guys are always looking out for me, and like they hooked me up. Yeah, I showed up, wrestled Rohit, which I love wrestling, and yeah, and it was kind of took off from there.
Is there any sort of like further? I know you did a few other matches. I think Jay Lethal and a bunch of other ones. Any sort of like, okay, we got to sign this guy? Any sort of interest there, or just kind of one offs?
I won't touch up on like because I mean I don't know exactly what I can say, but
Right.
I'm there. So that I'll say that I'm there.
You're interested in working for them more
Yeah, most definitely.
with AEW. Any sort of restrictions either, or they'll like, you have this. Here's your time, and go nail it.
No, I've never been told like what I can and can't do. As a matter of fact, my first match there, Sanjay's like, "You want to do your dive?" And I was like, maybe save that one. The Fosbury one where I land on my feet and jump.
Yeah.
I was like, no, 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 no,
Yeah.
no. I'll save that one for another day. But yeah, yeah, I've never been told like what I can and can't do. I don't think I've ever been told that ever. Maybe back in the day when I was like starting out, but like any of these bigger companies that you would expect, like maybe like the
Yeah.
rumors say like they won't let you do all this cool stuff. I've never been told I can't do anything. So
That's great. That's awesome. Sandra's looking out for you. It's like, oh, by the way, you want to do that awesome dive that you do? It's like, no, no. You have to
yeah,
tell
no,
him no.
no, it's,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, he asked me that like in WWE too because he aged in my first match and he's like, "Do you want to do the dive?" And I was like, maybe save that one."
Yeah, definitely. You gotta build up to that dive. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. That's a crazy one.
So we hit the wind down here. We'll head towards the finish. Just give me, I guess, for like the YouTube fans or whatever you want to do, whatever you want to say. I always call like the YouTube highlights or like the YouTube playlist. Like people type in Blake Christian versus. Who would you put on the other side to give almost like a playlist of best matches for people that would want to watch you?
Definitely the Will Ospreay one. That's definitely up there. My recent match with Hiromu Takahashi is also one of my favorite ones. Another favorite one happened in New Japan is with Hiromu Takahashi and El Desperado, triple threat. My match with Colt Cabana I very much enjoyed, so that one as well. Oh man, I've done so many. Me and Nick Wayne from GCW and Defy, both of those were very good. My match with Alec Price I had at Beyond also. John Moxley is a different flavor of a match, the different style I haven't done ever. I've never bled before, except for like one time in WWE when I got hit with a knee brace, but I never bled like I did with John Moxley. So that's definitely one I would say check out. A favorite of mine is mine and Leo's from the Hammerstein. That's always a good one. Yeah, that's like the big ones, and like Jay Lethal as well. That was a very solid one. I could keep going, honestly. They just keep popping in my head. But yeah, those are definitely like top ones right there.
It's funny, like if you look at it, it's like, man, how many different types of wrestlers has he wrestled in GCW? Like Matt Cardona, Minoru Suzuki, the Briscoes. Like, I mean, it's just like, oh my God, like every
It's
style.
crazy, yeah. Like Shane Strickland from New Japan, mine and Chris Bays from New Japan. Yeah, like you said, Minoru Suzuki, Zack Ryder, Matt
Yeah,
Cardona, both times, because the second one we did was like a different thing. Like it was very fun to do, something I
short.
very
Yeah,
much
it's a short.
enjoyed doing
Yeah.
with him. Working with Matt's been like a blessing because I think, yeah, it's easy and it's fun, and Matt's one of the greatest to do it. So like, yeah, man, I've very much enjoyed working with him. Um, so yeah, like those matches with him as well, like it's crazy, like the amount of matches that I have had. Mine in Speedball as well, like from GCW. It's crazy, like because I've wrestled a lot of people, and mine and Jonathan Gresham's as well. Like they just keep popping in my head, honestly. But yeah, I could keep going forever.
Yeah, my God. And the different styles and everything else is crazy. Anybody you haven't wrestled, like a dream match, so to speak, that you would want to wrestle?
Um, I love to wrestle Taiji Ishimori. I would love to wrestle Kushida again in New Japan. Uh, I would love to wrestle the Machine Guns. I wrestled Alex Shelley before, but I would love to wrestle both of them. Um, Robbie Eagles is another one I would love to get in there with. Um, man, there's honestly so many people I would love to like have a match with that I just can't think of right now. But there's a lot of people that I would love to wrestle.
I don't know how, but you got to get in there with Rey Mysterio. I'd love to see that one.
One day, man. Like I said, you never say never with WWE. So I'm hoping that one day I can lock up with him, AJ Styles, Ricochet, and Cedric Alexander. Those are four guys that I would love to wrestle and have a match with. So those are I'm very much holding on to those to hopefully one day have.
So what's next for you? What's going on next?
This weekend I'm at Black Label Pro and GCW. Weekend after that I'm back at New Japan doing New Japan Strong, and then closing out November with AAW. So and then after that go to Canada for Destiny. So yeah, man, I'm just staying busy and keeping out there.
Man, are you never not busy? Like I can't believe you were off last weekend. What the hell? You're never off.
Yeah, man, like the holidays are crazy, and yeah, I guess I let November slip up on me, so I didn't take anything this weekend. But yep, right back on the saddle this weekend or this coming weekend. So it's okay to have a
Awesome.
weekend off every now and then.
Yeah, you got it. You got to relax the body, take it easy.
Yeah, no doubt.
So before we let you go, where can everybody find you? Social media and otherwise.
So my Instagram is at real_Blake Christian, and then my Twitter is _Blake Christian. Those are like my main social medias that I use. So you can definitely find me on there.
All right, Blake. Thank you so much for all the time. Really appreciate it. Awesome stuff. Good luck in the future. Keep
Hey,
kicking
thank
ass.
you. Thank you, my man.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news updates. Follow us on Twitter at the Hannibal TV for instant updates.